My brain is melting right now. I'm trying to find Your Lie in April. But that feeling when you're searching for 11 volumes in a sea of manga. Why do we do this to ourselves? I'm crying, but not really. Except that I am. So if you wanted to know what 800 plus volumes of manga looks like, stuffed into one Ikea hems shelf and two of the 4-cube calyx shelves, this is the reality, and why I haven't really shown pictures or clips of my collection. It's embarrassing for someone who loves to organize and plan, but there's been so many factors and obstacles as to why I couldn't reorganize until recently. Here's a shelf in another room that I'll be replacing with a second hem shelf. I'll be moving some of these to my calyx instead. But feel free to skip ahead to this timestamp if you just want to see the reorganization, or check out the description to jump around the video if you'd like. So the only thing that will be staying in this room will be these new type magazines that I got a long time ago, like 2003, 2004. But this one is one of my favorite ones with Gundam Seed on the cover. So just a quick look at other books I own. I've mentioned this before, but as you can see, I own quite a bit of architecture books. That's what I went to school for, and I work in the construction industry. And even though no one asked, this is one of my favorite books by the firm Atelier Bow Wow. Gosh, this shelf is so dusty. I'm sorry. You can see it flying all over the place with some old sketchbooks. And then some random novels I've read in the past or for school. It's been a hot minute since I finished any young adult fiction, but one book that stood out to me throughout the years is Dante's Inferno, and then my 2 copies of 1984, another that I really enjoyed reading. By Digi Bookmark. Odd choice, I know. And there goes my Coachella box that I didn't realize was there. But aside from this shelf, I also sold off the other furniture in this bedroom to turn it into my office. But to help me move everything from the other room, and also for aesthetic purposes, I got the famous Ikea book cart, or technically a utility cart. I'm glad I bought it because it was so helpful in reducing the number of trips I had to take back and forth between rooms. I've also seen this in so many collections, and with the amount of manga I own, I thought it was about time. For the most part, I'll be using this to put my most recent manga that I receive in the mail, or ones that I'm going to talk about in future reading logs, which I'll be doing more of this year. Probably still sprinkling in a haul here and there because, you know, I can't help myself. It might be more pre-orders than anything though. But it's 2023, the year of reducing my TBR and just having a more curated collection, which I'll also think about doing an unhaul video if I have enough that I want to talk more about. But yeah, always feel free to let me know in the comments if there's a video you want to see from me. I read and respond to every comment. I like seeing what everyone has to say, whether you like a series, don't like it, want to recommend something, whichever. So here she is. I'm excited to use it, but also here comes the daunting task of moving my entire manga collection from my other room. So as an example of how mixed up my shelves became, this cube mostly had high school slice of life romance series, but then it had some fantasy and then got taken over by mostly BL. But because I couldn't fit any more 7C series on my very top shelf, I ended up having to Tetris everything to fit. I don't know how many cart trips I ended up taking, maybe 5 or so. But now onto the manga on my hem shelf so that I can remove these seismic anchors and take this shelf to the next room as well. But oh my god, you can see how crazy this looks. And these shoujo beats aren't short series, but they're all in the front row. Nana, Yona of the Dawn. I literally could not fit another volume. Or maybe I could have, but it was just ridiculous at that point. Every time a reprint volume came in for either of those two, I was like, ugh, how to just fit it in there for now. But this is my workout for the month. Anyone who's moved their collection around or did a full reorganization would probably agree. I'll show what my calyx looks like now. That's my K-pop cube. That's back to a simple decoration. My artist art bookshelf. And then anime or manga art books. Time to drag this thing over to the other room. But here's the replaced bookshelf. There used to be a bed in the empty space next to it. Now no more. Wall of manga coming soon. So because I'm a hyper planner and like organizing by theme, I have these open on my iPad to help remind me which genres go where. I'll explain my logic as I reorganize. With the exception of a couple shelves, I tried to average every shelf to have around 70 volumes, and the way I grouped everything seemed to work out pretty well, I think. Before we begin, I gotta share the obligatory clip of the pile of manga. Floor manga, I know. I'm just mentally preparing for this reorganization. I'm starting with the top shelf on the right, which has some of my Japanese manga magazines. The shelf left of this will have my Japanese manga, and these are at the top because I'm short and won't be reaching for them as often. It saves me the hassle of getting a stool. I'm most likely going to either sell a few or do something with the ones I don't care to keep anymore in the future. The shelf right below will have my industry creatives, which won't be too different from what I had before. There's Blue Period, then hanako-kun volumes 1 to 7, and then Barakamon. I'm doing a read-through of this series this month, which has been fun so far. It's way better than hanako-kun, which was pretty repetitive with a few exceptions. Then Eniale and Duyella volumes 1 to 3, where they're really into fashion. My Dress Up Darling volumes 1 to 6, which I surprisingly enjoy more than I thought I would. And then Paradise Kiss. So you can kind of see what I mean by my creative shelf. Stacked in front will be A Galaxy Next Door, which I actually may end up unhauling. Then Blank Canvas. I believe this is completed at 5 volumes. And Your Lie in April with that Loot Crate cover. I forgot about Look Back, so you'll just see that magically appear on the shelf. And Animeta, which is still ongoing. So the front stack has stories about mangakas, music, and then the animation industry. But here are the top 2 shelves. These two were the only ones I adjusted the shelf height up 1 step compared to how I had it before. Moving on, the shelf below has some wholesome BL, and then towards the left I'll put a couple of my favorite series, which one of them is not very wholesome, and you all probably know which manga that will be. Since I didn't have a shelf dedicated to BL before, I'm excited that these will now have a proper place to go. With all my shelves though, it'll continue changing because some of these are actively ongoing, and I wish I had it in me to be more practical when organizing. Like ongoing series together and completed ones elsewhere. Who knows, maybe down the road. But for now, I really like grouping this way by theme. And then having these blue flag volumes out here like this makes me so happy. These are such beautiful spines and a series I thoroughly enjoyed. This will be short-lived, but when I put these volumes up front, it was so satisfying that classmates fit exactly in that space stacked horizontally. It really is like Tetris sometimes. Here's another series with beautiful covers and spines and characters that I adore. The 3 volumes of Limit are my favorite from the 5 so far. And then surprise, surprise, here starts my therapy game corner, starting with the drama CDs. And then the Dear Plus magazines that have Shizuma and Minato on the cover. I'm only missing the May and November 2019 issues, but it's fine. What I have is good enough. And then I'll put my favorite cover up front. Of course, gotta have the actual manga on here, which again fits so perfectly in this leftover space. I live for these moments. Here's an overview. I'm so happy with how I organize these. This next one is going to be super packed in. A lot of these have been in my collection for some time now, like this Ajin. I'll read it someday. And then my Full Metal Panic volumes that hasn't been in print for a long time now, except for the novels. It would be cool if Sigma ever got picked up though, which is 19 volumes. But the series on this shelf are action, supernatural, and while some are average length, majority are fairly long, so I already know I'm going to have to spread out what I have on this shelf. I've also paused on pre-ordering some series until I've caught up, like with Noragami and a couple other series after this. I feel like I'm going to want to continue, but I'm trying to be a bit more responsible by not pre-ordering everything without even knowing if I end up wanting to collect it because I decide I don't enjoy it enough to do so. And I don't know why I didn't put Solo Leveling after Phantom, but I think I didn't want to break up the white spines. But here we go, cramming a few long ongoing series into one row, which a few of these I'm planning to knock out through buddy reads. Buddy reads are pretty motivating for me because I don't want to let anyone down by slacking in my reading. But in case anyone didn't know, I did create a manga-focused Instagram towards the end of last year. I'm fairly active on there if you want to give it a follow. A link is in the description. Feel free to DM as well if you'd like. Oh, is anyone looking to get the Toilet Bound hanako-kun box set? The stall box is so cool, and I think I may get it and give away my singles. And then my inspector thrown in the back. But this is what 110 volumes on one shelf looks like. I'm reusing this string of acrylic risers that I taped together, and this shelf will have my high school romance rivalries, like series where the characters are really competitive or often challenge each other in a comedic way. But everyone knows about Kaguya-sama Love is War, and then Takane and Hana, which has honestly been a struggle for me to finish, even though I literally only have 4 volumes left to read. I love the humor, but it's just the character designs I can't really get on board with. Flower in a Storm, which is only 2 volumes. And then Boarding School Juliet, which I wish was more drama-based than comedy, because when I first learned of it, I thought, ooh, forbidden relationship between rival schools, but I guess it makes sense to not take this premise too seriously. We all know about Misaki and Usui, and then Classroom of the Elite. And Tomo-chan is a girl, which I am watching the anime, and it reminds me of how funny it is. But these are the 2 shelves. I'm happy with how the white and colorful spines balanced out. So it's the end of the first day and looks like I made no progress. What the heck? I still have all this manga to organize on the other shelf, but it was getting dark and I couldn't film as well. But we're here on a new day and finishing up the very bottom of the first shelf. This ended up being my everything else shelf, which I'll definitely need to break these up because you'll see how dense it ended up looking. But it'll have my purely comedic series, which I don't get too much of because oftentimes they'll be mixed with romance or something. And then some drama mystery where some overlap with the supernatural genre, but I obviously couldn't fit any more up there, so down here they went. And these are thicker volumes, so I thought it'd be best to have them lower on the shelf anyways. But one thing that does bug me a little are the sizes of vertical prints. These are wider than the standard volume, even though the height may match. I'm probably contradicting myself because I'm grouping series all over my shelves while the heights don't match anyways. But I still don't like how I bunched all these series together because if you've noticed, if I'm going to double stack, I like having the taller volumes in the back or on risers and the shorter ones up front so that I can see everything. I could put the ones in the back on risers, but I don't have any more on hand, and I feel like I want to spread these out anyways because it just visually looks too dense and heavy considering majority are omnibuses. So yeah, I do want to have a more dedicated shelf to the mystery genre because I really love those kinds of stories. And then all you sports fans out there are probably like, you're terrible for having this minuscule corner left for sports manga. But here's this very dense shelf. And then I realized I forgot to put my 3 volumes of Chihaya Furu away. And actually it fits nicely on my high school rivalry shelf next to Maid Sama. The colors are perfect. If you're still sticking around, we're halfway there. Here's the first full bookshelf. Next top shelf will be my Japanese manga. I tried to only get volumes from series that are not licensed for a physical print in English. So that first one is Our Precious Conversations, and then this is House of the Sun. Regrets on getting so many of Hayaku Shitai Futari when I should have stopped at like maybe volume 3. Some of what I have up here are duplicates, in that I have the English copy. And then these given volumes with the special edition covers for volumes 1 to 6. I don't actually own the English prints, and I'm wondering when I'll cave and finally get them. I am reading it, but I just don't have those copies. That's just a duplicate of Links. And then this one and the next are a couple mature-only series by Chizu Aoi and Kichi Kojima. And then just some more josei. Sesame, Salt, and Pudding is a really good and short series, definitely recommend. And my Yamada-kun, which I ask for in almost every survey licensing request. Here's some blue and pink issues that came with the dessert magazines. I kind of wish I got more of the furoku that comes in the manga magazines, but then I'm like, that's even more merch that I may not know what to do with. My heart dropped when those almost fell from this top shelf to the floor. I've mentioned this in my first organization video, but these acrylic risers are super handy if you turn them upside down and use them as bookends to prevent a volume from falling over. They hold around 6 volumes pretty perfectly. A link to them is in the description. And then some Kodansha tankobans. I'm super excited that How I Met My Soulmate already got licensed for a fall release. I think I still want to get the Japanese copies though. But my very small light novel collection is on the other side, and basically just the 2 series by Kana Akatsuki. The shelf below has Slice of Life series, or ones with assassins in them. A strange combo, but you'll see. But these are the limited collector's edition of Aria that Right Stuff did in collaboration with Tokyopop. And then a couple Genshin comic anthologies that have a lot of food adventures. I transitioned that to Sweetness and Lightning, which has a lot of cooking. The Way of the House Husband, which I still haven't read this volume yet. Another Yakuza comedy with Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. I wanted to put this next to Sweetness and Lightning, but this Dark Horse print size is so odd. And then Imaginary, which I'll most likely unhaul. And then now Yotsubato. All the chibi drawings of Yotsuba on the spines are so adorable. It's a super fun series. And then I think I will forever keep Days on Fez and Laid Back Camp together. The spines go so well next to each other, and they're just great slice of life vibes. Front row has my series with assassins or people infiltrating an organization or something. And I only have 3, so Love of Kill, The King's Beast, which I haven't read yet, but I will this year. And then Spy Family, which ties together the super slice of life aspect and then agents and assassins. So this is how my brain worked in making a connection between all the series on this shelf. So again, going to use an acrylic riser as a bookend so that these don't fall over. And here are the top 2 shelves. Below that is where I'll have series with physical hardships and my other top favorites to match the shelf to the right. I'm including the dessert magazines I really like, and we'll just cycle through whichever one will be in the front. Currently, it's the new series by Keiko Iwashita, Museru Kurai no Ai wo Ageru. And so I wanted to combine these series with my favorites because I enjoy reading emotional stories. They're often very different from the abundance of high school romances and can be more introspective. I like how these contain older characters where the communication is much more palatable, whereas some high school ones might have a lot of misunderstandings that drag on. But on the other hand, Living Room Matsunaga-san is one of my top favorite manga. I never felt that Miko and Jun were mismatched. I know some get second male lead syndrome with Ryo, but while he's great, Jun is the one for me. But also for the series. And anyways, I'm reusing that acrylic stand I've had since forever, and under that will go Wake Up Sleeping Beauty volumes 1 to 6. And then we all saw it coming with Horimiya. I'm putting the graduation album under there since it's the same size. And then scoot it all over so that I can put the 10.5 and page 100. Then my manga volumes on top of the acrylic. So I'm gonna keep the Japanese volume 16 since it has a different cover, unless Yen Press decides to do cover variations like what happened with Wotokoi. But I'm so excited for when volume 16 is finally printed and released in May. I screamed when they made the announcement. But here's my G Fantasy magazine issue to cover up that weird gap. And then here it is. It looks chaotic and some may not like how things don't vertically line up, but I love it. Moving along, this shelf isn't the same width as my other one because I couldn't fit the same amount of risers unless I taped one perpendicular. It still worked out perfectly, so it's fine. But here will be similar to what I had before with mostly shoujo beat, except I don't need to cram as much together, which is good because some of these are not short. For Dengeki Daisy, I'm still missing 2 volumes, 10 and 15, so if Shoujo Beat could reprint them while they're at it with all these other reprints going on in the last year or so, I'd be very grateful. And then my Nana collection is almost complete. Complete in quotes, but you all know what I mean. I'm excited for when both Nana's figures release later this year, which if you haven't checked it out, I have my 2023 figures pre-orders video up. I'll link it in the top right. And then Yona of the Dawn, volumes 1 to 37, but still missing volumes 7 and 17. Like I see it in stock on Barnes & Noble, but I ordered it through Right Stuff at the beginning of last year at a more discounted price, but they still don't have it in stock yet. I'll just continue to be patient, but we're almost there. And then I'll probably plan to do this as a buddy read with whoever wants to read along with me. Oh, but the front stack are adventure and historical series. So I did hear that Frieren is on hiatus indefinitely, so I'm not sure why, but hope everything is okay. And then the Apothecary Diaries, which I love a lot. I caught up to the latest volume, and Mao Mao is such a great female lead. But this is kind of crazy looking with all the white and red spines. The shelf below is a bit of a mishmash with fantasy, drama, and high school romance slice of life series. I wanted to have these Cardcaptor Sakura hardcovers towards the bottom because of the weight. But I was able to get another string of acrylic risers back there. So in goes my Alice 19th, the oldest manga I kept in my collection, alongside my 1 volume of Fushigi Yugi and then Aoha Ride, which took me a while to read through, but I ended up enjoying it. I watched the anime after, which sadly didn't adapt everything, so I watched the live action, which wasn't bad. I'm probably gonna unhaul this and my Yoko Nigiri series. These next few volumes I didn't know how to fit in, to be honest. Wolf Children just happened to fit in the remaining space, so that's where it went. And then a couple vertical prints and the Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Going to throw this randomly in there too. And this is the only GL volume I own, but that will gradually change this year. I'm super excited for when the final installment of Orange is released. A few other drama-heavy series, and then Skip and Loafer, which I adore so much. Mitsumi is an amazing character that just draws everyone in. But the arrangement of volumes on this shelf is ridiculous because I have a lot of Kami-sama Kiss volumes now, and so a lot of things will have to move around again. Especially since Tsubaki-chou is 16 volumes. But next goes Daytime Shooting Star, another Mika Yamamori series. The colors on the spines are really pretty, and the typography for a lot of shoujo beats have been super cute. The volume 1 fitting perfectly, and then this last volume that sadly never got printed here. Here's another full shelf until I rearrange it again. Last shelf. Oh my god, it's already late afternoon. Here is where some of my other josei or adult older character romances will go. I also opted to put my Korean manhwa down here because they're quite heavy. But one thing I've noticed is that a lot of manhwa are more geared towards an older audience, which is nice. I obviously enjoy high school romances, but you know, things hit a little bit different when characters are in college, or in the workplace, or married. And Something's Wrong with Us is something that I definitely recommend if you're into a lot of drama, a bit of mystery, like a whodidit scenario. I enjoy this with every volume release. And so I kind of don't want Wotokoi in the bottom corner, especially with all those volume 6 covers, but it'll be here for now. Then it's my series with marriage in the title. There's Happy Marriage, exclamation point, question mark. Everyone's Getting Married, which I do like way more than Happy Mary. And then My Happy Marriage, which that cover is gorgeous. And over that is A Savior's Book Cafe, which eventually talks about marriage. On the other side is where I'll put my more mature BL, or BL involving adults. Although I do want to move Only the Flower Knows to the other shelf. And here's a couple things I'll put in front of my Something's Wrong with Us volumes. And we're all done. I feel like I've been talking for ages, but here she is. Organizing like this may not be for you if you like everything straight and aligned, but for me, it works great. The last thing to do is decorate. Starting, of course, with my Violet E2046 Gathering pre-painted figure, her pretty acrylic, and a canvas of the other kind of Katsuki light novels. Putting my Yuru Camp Nendos, which now that I'm editing this, I'm going to change their pose to something different. Freshen it up since they've been like this for a long while now. Forever eating. And then trying to decide which Horimiya Shikishi board to display, which I'll go with this one. I think the colors are going to be nice next to what's around it, especially I think those couple volumes of Living Room Matsunaga-san. Then this acrylic keychain. And Miyamura, who is patiently awaiting the Hori Nendo to come home later this year. I'm super excited. This acrylic, which is one of my faves. This small Yona and Hawk one. And then here I'll place my Sakura and Kero-chan Fig Fix by Max Factory. This pretty acrylic I got from Wonder Story to match the red. Up here, I'll put my free Taito cupcake minifigures. And in the open space will be my therapy game acrylic board with all the bunnies, which I love so much. Gotta have my Naru and Handa minifigures with Barakamon. The Sakura dress form in my fashion corner. This Gojo Ghetto family situation. Itsuki and Shohei standees with the bunnies. Another therapy game, acrylic board with Shizuma and Minato. And then the Shohei and Itsuki bunny keychains. I couldn't put much here, but thought this moke patch would be cute peeking from this corner. And finally, this maid acrylic board I got from Wonder Story. I'm done! Oh my god, this took so much effort to plan and then film. But let me know what you think overall on how it turned out. Which is your favorite shelf? I think it's obvious which ones I like the most because I literally named them my favorites shelf and gave it the most real estate. But yeah, I'm probably going to do a video with less talking as I put new volumes on here and rearrange. Again, because spoiler alert, I got another shorter shelf and probably will get another one for a different part of the room. Or maybe you might like a room tour instead once I'm all done, which might be kind of fun considering I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary here on YouTube. But I don't know, let me know in the comments. But for now, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you in my next video. Take care.